Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good to see everybody. We got a full house this morning. Jerry's off to a train show, but we got Lynn McCurdy here with us today, beard and all. So we will get into it because Lynn's got some interesting stuff to tell us about his layout that I didn't know, and I'll have him talk about that again after Steve. Can you do chat? Can you see chat?
Yeah, I think so. If everybody can hear me. All righty, we got Heath. Good morning, Heath. Dave Odd. We got Uncle Wilmer. Good morning, Uncle Wilmer. Steve Childers, Mark Pruitt, Gerald Stewart, Ray Bertelson, my buddy Chris Brew. How are you doing, Chris? Sparky. Good morning, Sparky. Did I say Steve Childers? I think I did. Mike Dunstan, good morning. I know we had Tammy in here. We got Digger, Ray Bertelson. Okay. My buddy Bernard. How are you doing, Bernard? And let's see. I know we had Allie in here early because Claude messed up the live.
That's a story in itself.
Yeah. And he wasn't even drinking.
No.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, Allie came on and Allie said, I hope that misspelling is on purpose. And I looked up at the title of the show and it was all screwed up. And I don't know how that happened because except that it was late last night we got in.
What did you misspell?
Everything.
Left the K.
That sounds like me. I cannot spell.
Well, it wasn't the fact that I couldn't spell it. It was the fact that it just didn't come out right. Because when I tried to fix it the first time, I went to type it back in, and it left off the ing off of railroading and put show after the date. So, and that I know I didn't do when I was retyping it. So I don't know if my keyboard's getting crazy or if it was, YouTube or what.
Maybe you were one key off.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely a key off.
I have everything I put in my videos. If I'm going to type out something and have a message on screen or whatever, I have to have the wife do the editing and make sure that I haven't spelt something really simple dead wrong because I do it all the time.
Well, and this could have been me mistyping it when I put it in and I didn't double check it. And that could have been what it was. But it was kind of funny when I looked up because I didn't know it was misspelled. It was pretty bad.
Try carving a sign. Get a sign.
He's trying to blame it on Dennis.
No, I said try carving a sign. I've got a stack of signs that I got them all done, looked at them, and it's misspelled or letters are backwards. So, yeah.
Yeah, that would be me.
That would be me.
Yeah, that's how it would go.
The older I get when I'm trying to type on a keyboard, it's just pathetic. If it wasn't for word check or spell check, I'd be screwed.
Oh yeah. Spell checks made me definitely. It made me lazy.
Yeah, but you got to watch spell check because sometimes that'll screw you too.
You still got to look at the screen and make the adjustment. After it tells you that you messed up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't always replace it, but
yeah, that's the thing with my video editor. There's no little red line. I'm lost without the little red line.
Exactly.
What you get doesn't tell you otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, today we got Lynn McCurdy with us, and I have to confess I have not been to your channel, Lynn. I don't think, and at least not in a long time. I do not remember seeing the mountain that's in the background of your shot here.
This little thing?
I thought, that looks really cool.
Nice.
Because I'm a mountain guy. I love the mountains. But anyway, Lynn was telling us the story behind this, and I think everybody else may know this. I didn't know it, but everybody else may know it. But for those that don't know it,
when my wife and I first met, we were getting to know each other, and we went on a road trip, and that's a good way to know somebody or meet somebody. She bought this for me, try to get the glare off of it. And she said, we have the spare room I'm in. And she said, if you can build something similar to that, you can have the room. So that's where this came from. And originally it was up to right about here. She was a teacher, and so I got a lot of things done during the day. And she came home and she goes, I thought you were going to make a mountain. So the next day she came home and it's up to here. She is 4'11" on a good day, and this is 5 foot. And she goes, that's what we're talking about. It's kind of hard to see, and I don't want to make Dennis and anybody else dizzy by moving the camera around, but out this direction, there's a dry riverbed. There's actually a miner down there dry panning. There's trestles. There's a total of 4 tracks back here. You got 2 here divides. We were talking about all the fancy stuff, all the Arduinos and computers and laptops and everything. I'm old school. This was DC originally. Guys in the club talked me into going DCC. All I had to do was hook up 2 wires and it worked. But my turnouts are either hand or that's off of an old lawnmower. That is a choke cable, and that operates the turnouts in the back, which most of the time I don't mess with. But that's some of it. Then we were talking about scenery, and everybody knows these. They're real. They also make great wiring and cables and telephone wires and all kinds of stuff. We got a building back here that Rick the Tree, Foss Bailey, sent me to modify, and I modified the daylights out of it. This is the No Scum Allowed Saloon. This is a real building. Kind of looks like this from the front in New Mexico. And if you notice, the wires are some of these. So there's a lot of things around that you can use for scenery and so forth. Anyway, that's the layout. It goes a little further around here, but that's most of it.
Camera, who cares about Dennis? Dennis doesn't count.
Yeah, he can close his eyes.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry about me or anyone else because there's.
All right, we'll take you on a tour here.
So is what's the main line configuration? Is it a loop to loop or
Hold the dog bone?
bent dog bone,
okay?
because it goes all the way around here, around the turntable, and you can kind of see the train coming around the corner there. The mountain in the back is Jerome, Arizona, with in-scale buildings. I didn't turn the power on, but the buildings all light up. And then comes around here, back here. Thanks to Heath, he's the one who suggested this for the close-ups. It's a long table. There's the trestle and the dry riverbed. Kind of hard to find the little liner, but he's down there. Behind the trestle is another track that literally comes around here. This is my favorite scene right here. If you've
That's cool.
Coming through the cut, yeah.
Mothers, headlights a little bright.
They're never too bright.
But it travels around. The climax sitting right there with the log crane behind it, that's a 2% grade. But then you see the 2 tracks that go around here. They go around. One comes out by the Santa Fe steamer and the 2 orange cars, makes a loop. And that's it. Up above, because I can't run large engines, this goes all the way around the room. There's up to 3 tracks in some locations. My coffee cup collection. And around to my, boy, this is getting bad. Here's my bridge.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
By the way, Claude, we were talking about orange groves and all like that. This building right here was the first orange grove in San Bernardino County out in Highland. My oldest brother's in-laws, that's their house. That was built right after the Civil War, and the last Indian battle was there. Indians didn't like the settlers coming in and taking all their water. So they thought they'd go out there and shoot them up. The carpenters were up on the roof and they shot back, and the Indians didn't like getting shot at, and that was the end of that. So, all right. Any questions? Anything else?
Yeah, actually, somebody did. I got to go back. Michael McCarville asked you, I think, if you can find out something about motive power.
Yeah, did you use MDC kits for the motive power?
I have absolutely no idea. I am not a tech guy or anything like that, but I do a lot of swapping stuff. I have some trains, I literally call them Frankenstein because the motor came out of this broken train, the track came out of that, the shell off of something else, and I make them fit, and if they work, they work. Almost all of my stuff is either eBay, yard sales, or swapping between members in the club. We do a lot of, hey, I'll trade you this for that. So
There you go.
and oh, by the way, I think somebody might be interested in this.
Oh, well, I've got a few of those. I'm going to guess that's a Stewart models.
Says lifelike.
Ah, Lifelike. Okay. Yeah, I've got some Stewart models that have that freight paint scheme on them.
If anybody, and I know a few of you have been following the Wednesday night Heath, got the little N-scale Rio Grande. Well, that was supposed to be a big brother to this and another one that I have, because I like running multiple engines. I don't know, I think that's just cool that way.
Yeah.
And the eBay listing called it an HO. And it was really cheap. There was some damage to it, handrails broken, stuff like that. But DCC, that caught my eye, and the price. So I bought it. And I don't have the box anymore because Steve Childers has the box now. But I got this great big box. I measured it. It was a full foot long. That's how big the box was. And I started pulling paper and bubble wrap and everything, and it kept getting smaller and smaller. And here was this little N scale. So I mentioned it to Heath, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll take that." So, and I kept going through boxes because everything I had was too big. I finally found a box from Mini Prints that fit in, and off to Heath, and he showed that Wednesday night. And then yesterday morning, Steve Childers had seen on one of my videos or someplace something. I got a whole shelf of DC engines up here that are just shelf queens. And he saw one and he goes, I want it, I want it, I want it. So I stuck it in the box that the N scale came in and shipped it off to Steve. It was interesting. I mailed Heath's engine on Monday. I mailed Steve's on Friday, and they both arrived about an hour apart. You know, because you get notifications when stuff is delivered.
Yeah.
And I guess it takes longer to go from Oklahoma to New York, you know, what, 5 days, something like that.
Yeah.
But here was this big box. So I just repurposed the box. Worked out great. Steve ended up with the big engine, and Heath ended up with the little engine.
Well, Heath wanted to know if you'd ever bought anything in the wrong scale.
This was the
I think
only
you're just
time.
rubbing it in.
This was the only time, the first time. And I contacted the seller. It's somebody I've dealt with before, and they were all apologetic, and they had used the headline. I guess it was already generated, and it said HO. But when you read down through the description, it did list it as N scale. But I wasn't looking at the small print. I was looking at the big HO. HO and DCC, that's what caught my eye. That
I had a
price.
similar situation with I think it was a K36 I bought. And when it showed up, I thought, wow, that's a big box. But it was a Fujiyama, and I had never owned one before. So, well, maybe they just put them in big boxes. No, it was O scale. I paid
So it would be
way
a big
too
box.
much for it to keep it and or give it to somebody. I sent it back and got my money back.
There is a site that is connected with eBay called Last Minute, and everything on that site has to be less than a dollar or less. Now the bidding, it could go up, but it starts at $1 or less. The shipping could be $100. There's no limit on what they charge for packing and shipping, but the price, and it's only on for 1 hour. So you got something you want to get rid of and you don't care, you just want to get rid of it. So you post it on there for 50 cents. Somebody buys it or they don't, it's listed for 1 hour, it's gone. So you got to keep looking at this site. I spend a little time there. A while back, I saw this listed HO train set, whole set, track, transformer, cars, even had a couple of people. And I'm looking at it and this is not HO. So I did a little research on it and it started out at 5 cents. I got it for 5 cents. Shipping was $30, but it was this huge G scale. Locomotive, couple of cars, caboose, 2 figures, all of the track, transformer and everything, but for 5 cents.
Wow.
Wow.
And this
I'm
is
not into G scale, but I bring it out once in a while just for the fun of it, and it works just fine.
so
Do they require you to post the shipping before you close?
No,
before it's
no,
sold?
they don't. No,
Oh, wow.
but they don't put it on the sales site. But when you go to check out, then they have to show tax and shipping and all like that, and then you can decline.
Oh, okay.
You're not locked in until you hit the OK button.
So the site is lastminute.com.
Yep.
Oh, I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that
I
could be
mean, there's all kind of junk. The
that
other
could
thing
be
I look,
dangerous. One of the two.
the other thing I look for is what's called lots, LOTS. And if you go on eBay and look at lots, and that's where I got lots of stuff here that somebody just either deceased or moving or whatever, and they just want to get rid of it all. So you're buying the lot. And sometimes you can, I'll look that up in a minute, the website. But, you're getting plastic telephone poles and little signs and broken couplers and all kinds of stuff. But you look through there and every once in a while, you'll find some really good stuff in that lot. So I get some of these lots. Shipping is questionable, but some of the stuff I throw away, some of my trade. I had a guy in Maryland that runs a train show, Timonium. I think that's where the show's at, in Maryland. It's one of the big ones back there. Guy's name is Greer, and he bought the show about 6-7 years ago. And I met him on a Yahoo swap meet, something and the other. And we started trading stuff. He takes all the horn hook couplers and plastic wheels, and he would take them to the show. So guys walking around with his kids, kid buys a little caboose or a BoxCar and there's no wheels. They go up and he hands them a handful of wheels and horn hook couplers. He says, it's a nice thing to do. And then he would send me stuff. Some of the stuff I got from him was junk. Once in a while, he'd send me some nice stuff. But when he got into the train show business, he didn't have time to send me stuff. I sent him one package that the post office weighed it. It came in at 5.5 pounds of plastic wheels.
Holy moly.
That's the guys in the club. They'd bring me a bag. I had my bag. We just put it all together into a box, and it came at 5.5 pounds of plastic wheels. There was probably some horn hook couplers in there too. But,
Hey,
That's
Lynn, what was the name of that website again? I keep finding like a travel leisure trip site.
okay, I'm looking for it. Hang on a minute. I bookmarked it, so
Man, 5 pounds of wheels. That's a lot of plastic wheels.
Yeah, it is.
Whew.
Okay. This is the easiest way for me to do this. And since I can't see what the camera is seeing, can you read that?
Last minute auction.
An hour or less, a buck or less. Find great bargains now. And then comes down and there's all the different categories. So you won't always find train stuff on here. In fact, I don't see anything right now. So you got to go to hobbies, toys, stuff like that. But, you need computers and tablets and so forth. No, it's wanting me to continue. I haven't been on here
It'd be
today.
an interesting site.
Yeah. But anyways, that's
I think that site is going to see a lot more traffic after this show is done.
Just from Bill.
so anyways,
Bill could go out.
you can read that. That's it right there.
Okay,
So
let me make it bigger. Here we go.
It looks like you have to
Awesome.
register before you log in and register before you can do it.
probably so, because it's an eBay site or a subsidiary of eBay. So
Okay.
and
Out. I like collecting stuff.
Oh boy, you do.
hey, I like giving away stuff. I mean, none of you here know anything about that, right?
No.
Cars and what have you.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Just
right
ask
behind
Dennis.
me, I've got some of yours right there.
Yep.
Well, Dennis
That
is
was one where I saw a whole bunch of supposedly HO cars, and they looked really neat. And, I forget what all the different ones. I kept a few of them were HO. Then there was these others that were more S and O and whatever. So I shipped them out. And then sent Steve Childers a whole box full of cars the other day. And John from Scoville, he needed some cars for his restaurant. So, and then I've misplaced, I should say, a couple of engines since the last train show. And I've been looking and opened up a box yesterday and found another box of HO automobiles and trucks.
That's always
Yeah.
fun. It's like having Christmas.
Yeah. I need to share the T-shirt.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute.
I
Let me
like
get
that.
this bigger.
I had no idea it would come to this.
And that's the truth. When my wife and I met, again, on the trip, talking about what do you like, you don't like. She said, "Do you have any hobbies?" And I said, "Well, there's things that I like." And she goes, "Well, what is it?" And I said, "Well, I've had lots of cars. I like cars. I'm not really. I do cars about the way I do the trains. I keep it simple. And if I can put wheels and exhaust on it, it's custom. But I said, and model trains." And she goes, "Well, you can't have both. You can tell who has the purse strings." And somehow that's crooked. Anyways, she said, "Which would you rather have?" And I said, "Well, I really like the model trains. I'd like to go back to the model trains." And she goes, "Okay." And after about a year or two, she goes, "I wish you'd gone with the car."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had model trains when I was a kid, and wife and I had gone up to Colorado, and we went to Durango and rode the train up to Silverton. And as we're on the train, at the time I was building and flying RC airplanes. And I told her, if I would ever give up that or move to Colorado, which I tried to get her to do one time and couldn't get her to do it, I would go back to model trains. And so when I did finally get out of RC airplanes, my son said, we ought to build a layout. And of course, he's not done much in that. It's not really his thing. He likes the miniaturization stuff, but it's not his thing. So Now my layout's up there because of that, but at least I'm home more now than I was before. So she likes that part of it, and she likes what I'm doing, but she's not, she's not into the hobby at all.
Well, my wife supports it. She understands. She, in fact, I kind of cringe when she says she wants to go to a train show with me, because usually I set a budget, whatever I can afford. And we have gone to shows before, and all of a sudden she walks up with a whole box of trains. She goes, "These were really cute. Here." Oh, okay. I've got a whole set of California Zephyr passenger cars that she bought at a show, and negotiated with the seller. She goes, "Yeah, he wanted $120. I got him down to $60." Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, you need to take her to more shows.
Yeah. I kept hearing some strange things in the background. I've noticed the train running around is now pushing rather than pulling, but it's still going.
Did you hate that one?
Yeah, sometimes when you turn them on and let them go, things happen. You don't expect.
What I'm really into, this is just keep me entertained when I'm not at train shows and so forth, is the modular club. And the people that I've met up with, I met them at out of town because I just saw it said high desert. And, okay, I'm in the high desert. The members are everything from NASA engineers to carpenters, plumbers, retirees, you name it. And anybody that has seen the channel has seen some of the crazy stuff that we have. We have 2 battleships, 2 aircraft carriers, space shuttles, Civil War, NASCAR racetracks. Personally, I have a 12-foot long cement plant, which will be at the next show in 2 weeks. And out in the garage right behind me right here is literally 14 feet of modules that I'm working on right now. That's been some of the plaster and stuff I've been picking up recently. I have a vintage, I like to call it vintage, not old, but vintage 1958 single axle horse trailer that I haul my stuff around. The club owns a couple of toy haulers, if you know what those are.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where the trains stay for a good part of the year until there's a show, and then we drag them out. Grandpa Rails has been out to one of our smaller setups. D-Rail Daryl has been out also. Ray Ron came to a show up in Tehachapi where we were joined with another club. So we didn't have our whole setup. We just had a couple of personal modules to add to theirs. We get a little carried away. The largest setup we did was at the NMRA convention back in 2008 at the Anaheim Convention Center, right across the street from Disneyland. And if you could imagine like a pair of eyeglasses with the loop, the yard was the loop between these 2 ovals with side tracks and everything. Took 2.5 days to set up. The outside measurement was 100 by 70.
Wow.
And we figured out a locomotive going at mid speed to track all the way around. Took close to 20 to 30 minutes. All the way around. Because we have them going all different directions and stuff. And we have been down as small as 8 by 10 feet. We had an offer to go into a little museum room, which was a former train building for a train stop. And they said, "Here's the room. Can you fit something in here?" And we did it. So that's one of the advantages of having modules.
Yeah, and it's the other advantage is if you personally don't have room for a layout,
no,
you can build a module and be part of a group that and take it to that and set it up and run. So that's the other big advantage I see of doing modules, and I think that's why they're so popular. with a lot of places. I know Tulsa's got a big N-scale module club. I don't think they have an HO one here, but they do have an N-scale, rather large one, maybe a couple of them. I'm not into the club thing anymore, but so I don't know all of the ins and outs of what Tulsa's got, but I know those are very popular. They're always at the Oklahoma City Train Show, and it's pretty cool to see. Plus, it makes it available to take to a show and let people see it. Otherwise, the module would have to be there. I mean, the layout would have to be there. It'd have to be a club set up.
There's
whole show.
Several clubs in California recently that I guess the word would be evicted, that the buildings they were in were sold, or the owners decided they didn't, they wanted to use it for something else. And when you got to take down a big layout and you have no place to keep it, it presents a real problem. And there was one just recently that Heath has got a question. How unusual.
He doesn't. No, he's asking if he can ask a question, and I'm going to cut him off. Say no.
Yeah, what would you ask a question?
What do you want to ask, Heath?
Is it going to be a real question or a Heath question?
I like Heath.
Yeah, Steve Anderson said technically he just asked two, so. Knowing Heath, he doesn't really have a question.
The storage of the modules for some is a real obstacle. We have one member that he just loves building them, and he built spectacular. He's the one that did the battleship and space shuttle. And by the way, his space shuttle is now in a museum. They liked it that well. And
Wow.
he just put it out there. He was renting a storage space that was costing him $265 a month for storage. We told him, you need to buy a trailer or something, but where he lives, there's no room.
Yeah.
His son has property literally out in the middle of nowhere. Claude and I were talking about San Bernardino, Victorville, and all like that. He has 2.5 acres in the desert, fenced in, dogs, all like that. He just recently bought a shipping container, like you see on the trucks and the ships. And somebody gave him an old U-Haul truck, one of the big ones. It had been abandoned, parked. They wanted it off their property. He drug it over to his. So he's now renting those two to this member in the club for $100 a month. So saving him $165 a month. We had to go get a couple of modules, and the ones that he wanted were all the way in the front. So him, his son, my son, and myself, we had to empty these things out just to get out a couple of modules and then put them all back in. Yeah.
Okay, here's his question. Lynn stated that the inspiration for his current layout was a photo he got while on vacation with his wife. If he hadn't gotten that photo, would he have modeled something different? Good question.
The answer is yes. Yes. It would have been, I don't know what, but yes, it would have been different. I would have never even dreamed of this.
Yeah. Well, it looks remarkably like a photo. I mean, if I'm thinking it's a really good job with no more space than you had there.
I don't have quite the deal there, but I got some of the buildings and so forth. And I'm working on more buildings because the one of the modules is going to be a ghost town. So back it up here a little bit. So I like dilapidated. I can't make anything nice. So if you can't make it nice, make it ugly. Then it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But this is one of the buildings that's going to go on the ghost town module.
Now, do you scratch build most of your stuff, or do you do kits, or combination?
50% are scratch built. A lot of them started out as a kit, but I don't like instructions. I throw the instructions away. Just like the one I got from Rick and a couple of the others, I totally modified them. I start building them and I go, I don't like the way this looks. And I want them to look dilapidated. So I definitely kit bash them to death. I mean, I make them look just as tore up and old and worn out as can be.
Yeah.
When I started out with plastic. I won't even look at a plastic building other than the one from Rick, and that one really got modified. It's hard to tell that it's a somewhat inexpensive plastic kit. In the back row, way back there, those are all metal. Those are all the old metal kits where they were hot metal or whatever, glue them together and paint them, and those can be weathered and look pretty good, but you can't modify them that much. I did a couple of them really, but the wood kits, once I started getting into wood, give you an example here. This one's been on the internet and so forth. This is going to go on the Ghost Town. Sorry about the light. I don't know what to do about that. But anyways, this is the Dry Gulch Station. And even the person that sold the kit couldn't believe what I did with this. Have you ever heard of a guy named Jason Jensen, as in Jason Jensen Trains?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of his kits. Actually, it's two kits. He came out with one a while back that they were like two little railroad crossing shanties or buildings.
I've got those.
And I put the two of them together. This is where it seamed and modified it, made my own roof. And that's a Jason Jensen kit. But it doesn't look anything like what he originally wanted it to look like. I mean, I got broken windows, the doors partway open. Kind of looks like something you'd find out here in the desert.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, have you ever built any Campbell's kits?
Yes.
Because I have a lot of those, and I know you're talking about throwing away instructions. They just trying to read theirs make you want to throw them away.
I've saved some of them because they were just, it's page after page of fine print.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not just that, it's the way they described it. The originals, the way they described how to do things was not real clear in a lot of cases. So there's a lot of times I had to restart over.
I don't know if you can see way up there at the top shelf, see all the yellow boxes? Those are Campbell's.
Yep.
Next to the black boxes. And the roundhouse, yeah, it's kind of hidden back in there. That's a Campbell. Yep.
Yeah, they had good looking kits for older era timelines. Heath wants to know. Here's another question. Was that a good enough question? I guess ask another one.
Well, he just did. His quote
Yeah.
is done.
Oh, did he? I
Yeah,
missed
he's
it.
good for the question. So his quote is done. Sorry.
Yeah.
What we get for encouraging him, I guess.
Yeah.
Heath, you can ask all the questions you want. You can email me. You can call me. You know, we stay in touch.
Yeah, Heath, it's a little early to be visiting the bottle this morning.
Oh, yeah, Mike says he's spamming chat. Yeah. He's not
Speaking
really.
of Jason Jensen, on the, I shared a bunch of pictures yesterday morning on Steve Childer's Retirement Railroad show that I was having problems with the perception of depth because the modules, most of them are only 2 feet deep. We always have two main lines. I had a third track for a go round. And then we're talking about how, or I saw it in chat, about free mode. And Heath is really into the op sessions and everything. And a lot of the club members, the ones that are serious, they like the idea of running over here, picking up a car, dropping it off there, moving over here, you know, railroad operations. When we go to shows, the kids, the spectators, they want to see the trains running around. They want to see the NASCAR track. And we get those. I mean, I've got a set of Union Pacific SD, SP, whatever they call. I run 7, 8 locomotives and a really long train behind it. kids get a kick out of that. 1, 2, 3, 87, 88, but the rest of the guys, they want to do something else. So we now have a rear track in the back, 20 inches back, that goes all the way around, or almost all the way around. All the new modules that are being manufactured have that back track. And then we have yards and other things. So I got a couple of videos on that. Not good, but a couple of them where you see a guy with a switch engine going over here, picking up the car. Gets a little boring just watching it as a video or in person. But the guy doing it is enjoying it. Mm-hmm. So the new modules, it just didn't look right with the small space with the buildings, like this set in there. It almost looked toy-like. It just didn't look right. Talking with Jason Jensen, Daniel Banks, the Train Freak, we put our heads together, and Daniel came up with the best idea. He says, it can't be flat. It's got to be uphill, hills or something, hide that rear track. So came up with that, and that really worked. Right away, you can see the difference. And then Jason Jensen and somebody else, I wasn't sure if it was the Train Freak or not, said start using N-scale buildings in the back.
Yeah, so do a little force perspective.
It looks like they're way back there. This one's just in the beginning stages. So it's going to come out looking pretty good. Right now it looks pretty rough with just styrofoam. What is your favorite part of model railroad, and why is it wiring?
Sounds like you answered the first question.
Yeah, well, scenery is my favorite. I enjoyed the scenery. Kind of hard to see, and I don't want to move the camera back around. The sun is coming up. You can see how bright it's getting. But all the trees back here, and I have a 6-foot module. It's called the Rolling Hills. And it's made up of stuff that I found literally at yard sales. I mean, you see a sign down the street, yard sale. I'm down there looking for stuff. And you find train stuff and scenery. And I pick up stuff off the street on the way, too. The trees are made from everything you can think of. There's the old bottle brush. There's trees from Michael's from Christmas, and you just spray green over the snow. There is sagebrush. That's one of my favorite, because I can just go out in the backyard and pick some sagebrush. The trees are made out of things. Making the rocks is fun. Just what you can come up with for scenery. I like that. Wiring, I'll do it. I don't do it on the level of Heath with all the electronics and stuff like that, because I burn things up, right? He's known for his blue smoke. I'd have smoke alarms going off when I start doing stuff like that. But I don't mind the wiring. And under the modules, we have our regular power bus, we have our drops, and then we have the local net, which is tedious to wire that stuff up. You got 6 little wires that go into a little tiny little box that you plug into. I think I've even questioned some of the people here about how you connect one module to the other. We use these, can't reach one. Oh, here we go. We use these things and just plug in, and simple, none of these screwdriver stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to wire that up is a little bit of a project. I wouldn't say that's my favorite. I'll do it. I lay track about as well as I do wiring. But the other stuff, the backdrop, I forgot. It's been up for almost 10 years. Jason, the Train Freak, introduced me to somebody, and his name is something similar, Train something the other, does backdrops. I have to talk with him to get the name of it. Just paper, but this was actually a photograph, and they just stretch it out on paper. The modules, I have much better drawbacks. The Rolling Hills has something similar to the Grand Canyon behind it. And if you've seen some of the pictures I'm even impressed. It's like, whoa, that came out great because it looks like you're looking at a mountain range and then a canyon and another mountain range behind it. And yeah,
Yep. That's backdrops make a big difference in the layout. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sideways again.
when I first joined the club, we didn't have anything. And when I would take pictures, I like taking pictures. I'm not a photographer. I just like taking pictures. You having trouble there, Claude? Oh, okay. There you
Yeah,
are.
my phone keeps flipping me sideways for some reason. I don't know why, but
But I would take pictures, really nice pictures of somebody's tree, and in the background you see a half-eaten piece of pizza and an empty bottle of Coke and napkins, and some guy,
and that's just on the
smoking and,
layout, right?
kind of ruins the picture. So finally convinced everybody we need to have backdrop.
Yeah.
So we came up with kind of robin egg blue as a neutral color, which really helped. It looks really nice. And then we started putting scenery, either painted. Some of the guys paint their own. I use the paper stuff because I can't paint. And it really now makes the pictures and the layout itself really pop. It comes out looking really nice. The different stuff that comes out.
Roland, he said, Heath, when you're ready to wire, when he's ready to wire, I'm flying your ass up to me so you can do it all.
Heath, you said you wanted me to come out and do scenery. The scenery I'll do. The wiring, you've already got that taken care of. Okay, this is my chance to pick on Heath. Let's instead of blame Heath, let's pick on Heath.
Oh, there you go.
About this, he mentioned it. There's a company called Seabots, Seabots. I've got a video on it. At the last show, and we saw him a year ago, this guy came up with a program. Think of a laptop or an iPad, something like that, and you lay it flat. He has a program, and you have water, and it looks like water, and it looks like moving water. It's got waves. Then you can make a boat move across it, or a real boat, model boat, on top of the screen. It motorizes it so it goes around, and it has a wake behind it. And you look, and there's sharks and fish swimming around. On the shores, you see the waves coming up. Not a tsunami, but you see waves. Very realistic. They're small. They're really, really big, whatever size screen you want. Keith is doing this harbor scene with the car float. And I keep hinting. I don't hint. I'm telling him, you need to get that Seabot in there, and that is going to look so cool. And he's like, no, that's too hard. I can't do that. No, not me. It's electronic. Come on, Keith, do the Seabot.
Just like he.
Do you
look
have
so
a link
cool.
where we could see what this looks like?
I got a YouTube on it. I'll send you the YouTube.
Yeah, so
I did an interview
check that
with
out
him.
just for curiosities.
Yeah.
It at the last show we were at in Ventura, the Great Crane Show it's called. Their display the whole weekend there was a crowd because I had a hard time getting with them. Finally Sunday morning I got there early. They showed up. I said we got to do the interview, and even during the interview, people are coming up and asking questions and stuff. So I included that. No, it's a neat little. It's not cheap.
No, yeah. Imagine.
At the show, the program, everything except for the screen that you have to supply yourself. I think ran around $250. Normally it's $300.
Yeah.
But it's a computer program. But to see how they do it and everything, it's like, oh, simple, cool. They got a nice little niche. I can't see doing it myself because this is desert, not water. But if you got a water scene, it looks really, really cool. So
I've checked that out.
yeah, got to put a plug in for them. They're really nice people.
Oh, is that the link, Dennis?
Yeah, I think I found the right video.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that looks pretty cool.
there's the link. Now, you can find it in the chat and you can copy and paste it. But
Of course, if I understand right, Heath's his barge slip or whatever you call it, I don't think he's planning on moving that.
No,
But maybe a little bitty boat beside it might be kind of cool.
You don't have to. That's what I keep trying to tell them. The barge doesn't have to move. But around the barge, it would look like, how water kind of moves around things.
Mhm.
You would get
It's
that
around-
illusion. You'd have the fish coming around it. On the shore, you would have the water, and it doesn't physically move. It just looks like it's moving. It's like a video being played on the screen. Instead of the screen this way, it's this way. And you don't have to have boats. Somebody the other night during his show mentioned about it would be neat to see the boat rock. Now the car float, he wouldn't want rocking with it, but he also has a program for a little fishing boat to be sit there rocking back and forth with the waves, and that's in the video. That's all in that video that I took with the people.
I have to check that out just to see it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking.
I sure wish I had something to talk about.
Well, we've got less than 10 minutes
I like
left.
how,
So
how the boats are moving back
Yes,
and forth. That's pretty impressive.
yeah. And to be right there and see it, it's like it looks. I mean, it's HO. I think he had HO. I don't know if he had N. I think he's working on that. But
There's a whale swimming underneath the boat.
yeah, yes.
What is
That's-
this?
Dennis is like a kid at Christmas over here.
He's going, how can I do
There's
this?
a whale. Look at there's a whale.
And he sells the boats,
Jack.
all the different boats.
I want. Do you have control over the color of? Because that's what I'm seeing. Like that blue. I mean, if you were modeling, the tropics or something like that, I could see that color of blue. But like in, a port in New York City, I think the water would be closer to black.
Or brown, dark brown.
Yeah.
Dark brown. I am not sure. I would have to ask them. I don't see why not, because they can control everything else with it. But on the larger screen areas, it's really interesting to see like two different boats sailing around. They don't bump into each other because you can program where they go and how fast, and they don't go fast. They're moving along like you would expect.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, here's one they're showing now. I'm watching the video. Sorry, I don't mean to be disinterested in what's
No,
going on.
that's
up
good.
I
here,
knew you
but
were, Dennis.
This is pretty cool. It is. I'll have to admit.
See, Keith, you got to get this. You got to do it, or make your own.
'Cause
Make your own.
I love sailing boats. I always have. There's this thing in the back of my mind that I would love to build a nice wooden ship, but there's no way that, I'm not going to take away from the model railroad, but that would be a high thing on my to-do list in my lifetime. I would love to build a big wooden ship. This is cool.
Neat.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up because
I'm going to have to watch it again with the sound.
Oh, yeah.
uh,
The owner, the original, the father and son. I'm not sure what nationality, European. And he even explained to me at the beginning that he's going to let his son talk because he's really hard to understand his speech. And then about halfway through, the dad's so excited, he's doing the talking. You got to turn it up a little bit and listen.
yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what they're coming up with for model railroads.
Yep.
The sounds to the smells to everything else, it's and I've even seen some of the as I was starting to get back into thinking about doing a layout, I saw some O-scale videos that had steaming locomotives, and they even had steam coming out of the cylinders and stuff like that, or simulating that.
Right.
But you couldn't really tell it wasn't coming out of the cylinders, but it was pretty cool because it looked like a full-size steam engine sitting there getting ready to take off, and that would be cool if they could get it to HO size, but you'd have so many things to do there. I would think that'd be kind of tough to do on HO or smaller, but the O scale was pretty cool. Okay, we got any more
None from Heath.
more questions?
Heath can't ask anymore.
I think Heath checked out. I haven't seen him in a while.
We might have made him mad.
He might have had to go island hopping or something.
He's probably trying to figure out how to scrape up some money from buy one of those things.
Well, he'd probably have to reconfigure his bench work. That's kind of one of the first things I noticed about it is you'd probably have to plan well ahead in advance for how you're going to put it in there.
Well, for him, now would be the ideal time to do it. I mean, he has started, but what I've seen, he just has a piece of wood with blue paint on it that he could take that out and slide in a little, I don't know what they call them, iPad or something like that. And he's got enough of those. I mean, I see them all around his room. By the way, you want to know how I ended up with a YouTube channel?
Sure.
Totally by accident, and Heath. Blame Heath on this one. I've always taken pictures, mostly still pictures from the train shows. And just, I take pictures and then share them. Used to be on a site called Vimeo, and then they got greedy and started charging a lot of money. Somebody says, well, put them on YouTube. Okay, how do you do that? So real primitive. I put a couple of pictures, a couple of other members had some pictures on there. So I met Heath basically on the internet through other people. And he was going, hey, you got a channel. What channel? And he goes, type in your name. Yeah, there's your channel. Oh. And then the Rick the train, or not Rick, Jason the train freak, he helped with getting the name, the banner, all like that. And it just started growing from there. I have a lot of trouble getting the videos off of Vimeo onto YouTube. They really don't want me to do that. They want to keep them. But at 250, the club okayed it, donated a really nice Rio Grande, I think it was, passenger car. John from Schofield Valley, he won that. And if we ever get to 500, we were getting close, and all of a sudden it dropped off. He missed
about 20 minutes. I want to know if we go back.
I'll send you an email. Watch
the replay.
When we hit
We've all
500,
decided you need to get an LCD screen for your boat slip, Heath. If you missed the last 20 minutes, it's a done deal. You're going to have to get some water and boats floating around next to the barge slip.
Yeah,
But
it was unanimous, like 360 to 0 to you do that.
if we ever hit 500 subscribers, and we don't really solicit other than shameless plug, we hit 500, we're going to give away a locomotive.
Cool.
So the club has already decided, it probably won't be DCC, but maybe DCC ready. So that way, whoever wants to go with it, and it'll be something nice. We're not going to go get a Tyco and say here Chattanooga Choo Choo. We'll get something pretty decent. We'll find something nice that fits the price category for 500 subs.
What does the HD stand for? High Desert?
High Desert. That's where we're at. Modular Model Railroad Club. HDMMRC is a lot easier to say.
Maybe for you.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing it for a few years, so it took a while to catch on.
Yeah, just don't ask me to type it.
No.
Okay. I keep misspelling module. You were talking about spell check. My spelling is so good that I use spell check and it goes, what? What are you talking about? There's nothing like that.
When you click on the little red line and it says,
It goes,
no,
no,
we can't help
Cannot
you.
find. Yeah.
been there.
Yeah.
Oh, John's got a question right quick. How did you make the mountain?
Oh,
Oh, that's
It's 90% scrap styrofoam. You know, when you get packing, you always get all these odd shapes, and almost all of it, and that's why it's steps. It's styrofoam. The rocks are all plaster woodland scenic molds, and they're just held on with latex paint. Everything has a coating of real thin brownish red watercolors, and then everything is covered on top of that with black India ink watered down, and then dirt from the backyard.
there you go. The real stuff always makes it look good. Well, guys, that's our hour. And
Yeah.
Lynn, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is like asking to sit at the Thanksgiving dinner table with the adults, and they go, "Yeah, you can pull up a chair." It's like, cool. Hey, I'm with the
No,
adults
we
now.
still might be sitting at the kids' table for Thanksgiving. I don't know about that, but
Yeah, it's always more fun, but this was nice. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Well, we'll have to have you back on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Dennis and Steve and Bill, glad you guys were here. Thanks for being here. And maybe Jerry will be back next week. And everybody in chat, have a great rest of your weekend
Yep.
and a good
Absolutely.
week. And we'll see you next week. I think Dave Todd is going to come on next week. Hopefully he'll be able to be here. And we'll get him on after a month of delay. But he and Steve have a video to do that Steve sent me. So we'll let him talk about that. It's real train stuff. So have that to look forward to. But anyway, we got to get out of here. We'll see you guys later.
take care all.
Take care.
Enjoy your day.
Bye.